Hey guys, welcome back to JDMods. This is my 1992 Toyota MR2. You've seen a lot of build videos on it. I did a Gen 4 3S GTE motor swap. I repaired both rear quarters, painted the whole thing. I've done lots of build videos on it, but I realized looking back that I've never done a driving review. So basically, I built this car last winter, 2 winters ago. So I've been driving it pretty much full time in the summer for about a year now. So it's running great, and I want to take you guys along for the ride and show you how it works. So in case you haven't seen the build videos or are new to the channel, I'll give you a quick 60-second rundown before the driving test. And also, if you could please like the video and subscribe to the channel, that really helps us out and allows us to make more great project cars. So 60-second intro to the car. It's a Canadian spec 1992 Toyota MR2 Turbo, which when I bought it had the Generation 2 3S GTE, which is a bit of like a lower tech engine. I swapped it out with a Gen 4 3S GTE. I'll show you guys the engine bay now. So here it is. It's a little dark, but hopefully you can see. It's a stock internal Gen 4 3S GTE with the stock CT15B turbo. Same turbo that's on a 1JZ GTE VVTi. A little bit different, but same core. The upgrades I've done would just be a aftermarket intake with a big 4-inch intake cone. We have a aftermarket intercooler with, upgraded core, fan, tile blow-off valve, which sounds really cool. Hopefully you can see that in today's video. Couple engine bay tuck related items. We have a aftermarket downpipe, high flow cat, and a Burke exhaust. Aside from that, we're using stock fuel, stock injectors, everything like that. So we're gonna go on a little drive today. Hopefully you guys can get an idea of what it's like to drive. Maybe if you own a Generation 2 3S GTE, I might be able to convince you to upgrade. Or if you don't own an MR2 at all, hopefully I can convince you that's a great car to get into, especially for how relatively inexpensive they are. Let's go for a drive. So I'm going to take you guys on a quick test drive. One more thing I'll mention before we get started. You can see my boost gauge over here. I'm running about 13 PSI on the stock Gen 4 CT15B turbocharger. People run them with premium gas up to 17-18 PSI or more, maybe on E85 with forged rods. We're running 13 PSI because I'm using 91 mixed with 94 half the time, and I don't want to blow anything up, so I like to take it nice and easy. So let's go for a quick drive. Alright, so I got the windows up. Hopefully you guys can hear some of the engine and turbo noises. We're just going to start with some in-town driving. One thing I like about this car is the small turbo spools up a lot faster than the Generation 2 3S GTE turbo, and does carry it right through the red line. So it's very spicy off the light. Obviously no full throttle stuff right now, but hopefully the mic is picking up some of the 4-inch intake, Burke exhaust, and tile blow-off valve noises. I think it's a great combination. The exhaust is tasteful, but it doesn't drone by any means. I put the high flow cat in just to help with the smell a little bit, and from what I've read and can tell, it doesn't affect turbo spool or top end power at all. So something I did also to maintain the law. So trying to think what else I can talk about kind of while we're driving through town here. Definitely a good upgrade over the second generation 3S GTE. One thing I'll say is to make sure you have the tires for it. When I bought this car, it came with 215s all around, and they were quite old. You should check your tires for the date stamps. When they're old, even if they have good tread, the rubber compound goes harder, and you lose a lot of your traction. So even with the old second gen 3S GTE, might have been making 200 horsepower, I still had trouble with traction. With the fourth gen, there was absolutely no traction, even when rolling, maybe like 80 kilometers an hour was when it would start to get traction. So I changed out the tires for 245s in the rear, newer, stickier compounds, and huge difference. Obviously in a car like this, safety is important. They're a little squirrely, so I definitely recommend upgrading your tires. I think that's all I'll talk about for now, and then we'll go find a more quiet road to do some pulls on. So now I'm gonna do, you just saw some pulls on the back road here. I'm gonna try a launch with you inside the car so you can get an idea of how the Gen 4 launches. Here we go. Alright, so you've officially seen the MR2 driving and my review on it. Overall, I obviously love this car. It's quicker than I need it with the stock turbo and only at 13 psi. So I will probably turn the boost up when I get bored eventually. But right now I'm really liking this power level. I have the 600 horsepower Aristo, and it's obviously faster, but in in-town driving and even highway driving, it's less usable in my opinion. This car probably makes around 300 wheel horsepower, so maybe 320, 350 max if I do 18 psi, and it's really fun to drive around town. To conclude the video, I will just mention a few drawbacks about the Gen 4 3S GTE. It's harder to find parts. It was only ever sold in a Toyota Caldina, which we never got in North America. So for certain parts you have to buy from Japan. The second generation 3S GTE was in our MR2, so you can go to Part Source and get a distributor or a throttle body or a throttle position sensor, all that good stuff. The only other thing you have to watch out for with these motors, two things. The turbo is a part of the turbo manifold. It's all one piece, so you can't really upgrade your turbo unless you go with an aftermarket manifold. And the rods are a lot thinner. On stock internals, you should really only go up to about 350 wheel horsepower before upgrading your rods. In comparison, the second and third generation I think are good to over 400. So with the cost of these motors, I think it is a good upgrade if you have the funds, but if not, you can get a Gen 2 to be just as much fun, if not more, for cheaper. So I hope you guys like this review video. Let me know what you think in the comments down below.